Hi guys, welcome to Basement Supercar Build, the channel where we see if an average guy like me can design and build his own mid-engine car. This video will be a highlights video of the work that was finished this week. If you want to see the actual work take place, watch the full-length video for this week. And with that out of the way, let's get started on this week's video.
Well, we have the roll cage finished as far as the tubing. I still need to do the corner gussets, but I wanted to show you what this looks like. This last tube is installed. It seems like it's a good height. When I'm sitting in the seat, the bottom of the tube doesn't block my field of view of the bottom of this blacked out area in the windshield. It's about flush with the bottom of it. It dips down into it just a hair here on the corners to meet in with this tube. Didn't see any way around that, but I'm very happy with it. It's very consistent. Everything welded pretty nicely, and once it was welded, it fit back together pretty easily. Had to use a drift punch to line up the front holes, but these legs spring pretty easy. It was no problem to get all the bolts back in. But just wanted to give you a look at this. That's what it looks like, and I guess I'll start working on the sheet metal gussets here in the corners. I'm not quite sure how big yet, but just something that'll be up near flush with the top. The headliner will come up and most likely attach in these corners to these steel plates also. But let's figure out what we're going to do here and get started on those. I want to show you guys what I'm working on here. This will be the brake mount, and this will bolt to the large tube on the firewall, that 2x4 tube. But some of this will be removed. I don't know the exact height of this yet. I've left this a little bit long, and I'll clamp it to that bar and get the exact position for the pedal to be off of the floor and for the rod going to the booster to align with this pin. This pin or bolt is actually what's going to push on that. So once I know all those measurements, I can come back and trim off some of this and then drill my bolt holes to align. I'll bolt that to that tube with 4 bolts, 2 per side. But this is how I lengthened this pedal. I used the existing 2 bolts that was here, added some 1/4 by 1 1/4 bar stock. I'm bolting this together solid here, and this will attach to the rod on the brake booster. I will turn an aluminum spacer here that comes out and spaces this the correct distance, and then has the correct ID for that rod. It's a little bit larger diameter than this 3/8 bolt, and I need to order some correct hardware. I've just got something stuck on here, but hopefully all that will align and work correctly. This gives me the 4:1 ratio that I need on the pedal, where it used to be 7:1. That's too much pressure. There would be no feathering the brakes. The brakes would either be on or off with the 7:1. So this 4:1 puts me back at what a stock clutch pedal length is for the C5 and C6 Corvettes. And I'm sure even up until now they use the same 4:1 advantage on the brake pedal. That's a common thing. But so far this looks like it's going to work out, and keep you guys posted, and we'll keep going on this. I wanted to show you this. I made all 4 corner gussets for this roll cage, and I have welded the front 2 gussets on. See the other one over here. This is what they look like. But I have decided to wait on the rear gussets, which I have them made. I haven't bent them to fit yet, but they would weld in here. But I'm waiting because there's going to be a seat belt shoulder harness attach point somewhere here in this corner also, and on the back side there will be brackets to attach a metal tube down to somewhere in this vicinity, most likely this attachment for strength, and also some mounting points for hinges in this general area. So I've decided to wait on this gusset until I see exactly how all these pieces are going to interact, because This gusset may be part of a weldment that does a couple or maybe all three of these things that gets welded into place. But until I know exactly what I'm doing here, I'm going to hold off on these rear corner gussets. I have also started welding or attaching and making weldments and bolting them in place for the throttle, the brake pedal, and the clutch pedal. And this is what I'm doing here. I'm starting out with the throttle because it has to be located the right distance off of the wall here for the tunnel and the right height off for the floor. So that determines where the gas pedal mounts here. You can kind of see how it's mounting. And let's go up top. This is easier to see up here possibly. I had to add a weldment here for the top bolt on this gas pedal. The rod here for the brake booster is very close to this, close proximity, so I'll have to make sure that is spaced exactly right. I have started making a mount here. I showed you how I was extending this brake pedal to get the 4-in-1 mechanical leverage that it needs. I have bolted all of this together solid, and this 3/8 bolt will come out and attach to this brake booster rod. And I have ordered some bronze bushings, a spacer and a bushing to attach to all this to make it space and function correctly. Then I'll be able to tighten this nut down against all of that and make this work like it should. I'm still working on the exact placement left and right and height. Once I know that, I'll remove this excess material up here and get rid of this close proximity here to the steering column. That'll have plenty of clearance. And once I know the exact height and location of this brake pedal, then I can come in and make the clutch pedal match that. But I have to do one thing at a time and make sure all this aligns and works correctly. But so far it's looking like it's going to. And I guess that's going to be about it for this week. Join us again in 1 week where I will be finishing up the clutch and brake pedal mounts and getting those bolted in the car. And I've also started ordering some components, finish up the engine and engine bay area. That's a surprise. I'll tell you what they are next week's video and show you kind of what I've got on my mind for finishing up this engine as far as turbocharging and exhaust and things like that. But I guess that's it for this week, and I'll see you guys again in 1 week.